Hi, I want to tell you about an argument that Cindy and I had this morning. So we had finished meditating and we went to do morning pages, and I said, let's get started on morning pages, and she was busy putting some laundry away and she said she didn't hear me, and so I started doing morning pages, and then Cindy came in and said, oh, you started morning pages without me. And I said, oh, sorry, I told you that I was going to start morning pages. And she said, no, you didn't, or whatever. And so we got into this argument, and sometimes, rarely, Cindy gets into this thing where she gets triggered, she gets upset, and she'll start to do this thing that's kind of like shaming me, or behaving in a shaming way. And 99.9% of the time, she's loving and supportive and encouraging, and she can express her feelings. And so my dysfunctional behavior is that instead of moving away from that, instead of saying, I love you and I'm here for you, but I need to take space from this because I'm really, I hate being shamed, and I find it really hard it really hurts me. So I'm going to move away for now. Instead, I tend to attack and come back with an attacking way of being, and kind of, more like explaining, kind of saying, look, I asked you if you wanted to do it. You didn't say anything. It's just that you didn't hear me. Now I'm writing the morning pages. You can join if you want. So I start to explain, and I get angry, and I start to raise my voice. And I've learned to pretty quickly, when I realize I'm doing this, I move away. And so what it is, I went and got in the car and took my page with me, and my pen and my glasses and my notebook and my wallet, and I got in the car and I drove away, and I accelerated down the road feeling angry. Okay, and I went and sat in the car somewhere and wrote my morning pages. And while I was writing my morning pages, it really helped me to write down what happened and how I was feeling, and what I did and what worked and what didn't work, and what I could do better next time. And what I became, I already know this, but it gave me the ability to kind of reflect on what happened and clarify it for myself. I know, it's even clearer to me that I need to be very sensitive to how I'm feeling, and notice as soon as I start to feel that feeling that comes when someone starts shaming me, and as soon as I start to feel that, to move away, to basically provide the appropriate feedback for shaming behavior, which is to say, I love you, and I'm not going to stand for this, the way you're talking to me and the way you're treating me. It's kind of when someone shames you, it's kind of like they hold contempt for you, which, according to John Gottman, is one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, one of the 4 ways that a relationship, a marriage, can break down. So it's my responsibility to notice this happening, and to take my responsibility to move away from it, lovingly and caringly. And so, I had more clarity around that, and I recommitted to noticing and having like zero tolerance for shaming from anyone, and I have this happens with other people too, but with Cindy as well, zero tolerance. I finished my morning pages, I drove home, and everything was fine, and we had a great time. We had some, I can't remember what we did, but we ended up chatting. It turns out Cindy also did her morning pages, and she had all kinds of realizations about her shame, and how when she felt so she really wanted to do morning pages with me. It's a thing she likes to do. She likes to do a lot of things together. She likes to eat food together. She likes to do activities together. It's something that she feels is kind of a loving family thing, and that's important to her. And what she could have done is she could have walked into the room, seen that I was doing morning pages, and said, oh, I feel sad that you're doing morning pages because I wanted to do it with you. And if she had done it in a non-shaming way, it would have been easy for me to say, oh, you feel sad. I'm sorry I started without you. Do you want me to wait for you? Or do you mind if I just start now? Or I'm going to continue now, and I understand you don't like that I started before you. Whatever. So she realized that she felt ashamed of that need. She felt ashamed that she felt ashamed of her feelings. And so instead of revealing her feelings, because she felt ashamed of them, she attacked and she shamed. She attacked using a shaming approach. And so for her, she also realized when she was doing her morning pages that how she could handle that kind of thing more adaptively, which is in that moment when she realizes that she is feeling a little bit of hurt, to hold it in herself and share it. And so what I really want to say about the real purpose of this video is to talk about the value of morning pages for relationship, and the value of morning pages for building clarity around your feelings and around your self-awareness. And also, when I was sitting in the car, I was writing in the morning pages, I was writing, it's really convenient that I happen to be writing morning pages right now. In fact, the argument was about morning pages, and it's convenient I'm writing morning pages because now I get to reflect on this. And I was thinking about times this has happened before, and how often when I move away, I often feel lonely or sad or hurt or angry, and I find it hard to handle going away and potentially not doing the thing I felt I needed to do at that time, and having inconvenience like, oh, there's nowhere open for me to go and sit, or so I have to go sit in the car or whatever. And so I was thinking that, and I was thinking, what if, like, what would be a good way of handling, what's the best way of handling it when we have an argument and I remove myself as a zero tolerance policy for shaming, right? What should I do? And I suddenly realized, I could just journal, right? I could just do essentially morning pages. And I realized my morning pages, doing morning pages every morning has enabled me to, I wrote for 2 pages about this. I've never done that kind of thing before. I never would journal and didn't know how to journal. This process of doing morning pages has basically taught me how to journal, taught me how to self-reflect in writing, in the way that people do when they journal. And I guess maybe some people learn as they're growing up, when they write journals as teenagers or as kids. I never learned how to do that. And so morning pages has given me this tool that I can actually use. If we have these kind of arguments and I remove myself, hopefully I'll remove myself earlier before I start to get angry or I start to raise my voice. But if I can go away, as soon as I notice that there's any issue, I can lovingly move away and begin to do this process of journaling about what's happening. And if I can even suggest that she might want to journal about what's happening, we can use this amazing tool that we now have to improve our relationship, improve our emotional intelligence, increase our emotional intelligence, and improve the overall quality of our lives. Thank you.